last episodes we talked about, relationships problems in terms of communications. I think it's an interesting topic to explore, which is relationships in different culture, because we both live in UK but have Chinese heritage, experience different relationships in different cultures.
Yeah, I can't say I've dated many people. I've dated a limited amount of people, and I think my pool of candidates, I don't think it's a perfect representation of, I guess, the cultural phenomenon. But I guess there is some useful information or useful traits that I guess can be used to break down what people from different cultures differ in terms of how they treat relationships and dates.
Yeah. I think it's a big topic, and it perhaps is helpful if we can break down into a specific area, a specific subtopic. Yeah. Personally, I always discuss this topic with my girlfriends, which is extremely interesting. The topic is who is going to pay when you date? Who take the responsibility of paying in your dating?
I think the bottom line really boils down to who asked who out. And I think the person who's asking the other person A is who's asking person B out. I think person A who has a responsibility to perhaps, pick up the bills because it is within them to provide a sense of, joy, enjoyment or entertainment. And the person B is on the receiving side. And I think from there onwards, you can, subsequently decide, okay, what's the next step plan? But just a preliminary thing. I mean, it's not even in relationships. Even if you go out with friends, you say, oh, come around mine. You don't expect them to cook. You don't expect them to do the cleaning. So it's on you to provide that sense of joy, entertainment for the receiving end, who's the person B in this case. So I guess that's applicable for both relationships with intimate ones and relationship with friends. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think it's I completely agree with your sentiment of responsibility. If you extend an invitation, then you basically assume that in that event you'll be the one who take care of other people. I think this is an interesting one because I grew up in China. Obviously had a lot of influence from Chinese dating culture, traditional ones at least. So growing up, you observe, let's say, usually at the male side who pick up the bill in a lot of situations. I used to have that expectation too, but I remember my dad actually told me when I started dating someone, for the first time, my dad just said, do you have enough money to pay your bills? If not, please let me know, because I don't want you to always at the receiving end of the other party. You should have the ability to pay your own bills. So I think it's actually quite modern thoughts from a Chinese parent's point of view.
Why do you think he said that?
I think he doesn't want me to feel I'm owe somebody. I have to do something because I'm owning somebody that. He doesn't want me to feel burdened in a relationship, because I think in his point of view, under my hypothesis, explanation is that if you let somebody pay for you all the time, you are basically under the control of someone, or you feel owed, like you own your efforts to someone. And I think he hope I can be an independent person, financially and also spiritually. So in a sense that he wants me to be not forced into something because I felt I own somebody that.
That's if you have a more guilt-driven personality, then I guess. You're saying owing someone because you're receiving their money, but it's more like a psychological as opposed to
reciprocity.
Reciprocity. I mean, that's Asian culture in general.
Yeah.
But perhaps in your head or in your father's head, this is an equal trade where in order for you to receive something, in this case, paying for the bills that you go out for dinner, the repayment is through other means, or at least if it's not in other means, you would feel the guilt as, I guess, the hypothetical theory of payment.
Understand that. I think that definitely makes sense because I think not only in Asian culture, in every culture, because we are social animals. And on the other hand, I felt there's also definitely equal trade in the subconscious mind, in a sense that you want to make sure that there's a fairness in the relationship that you are in. Although in real love or in the other theory of love, there's like the whole concept of fair trade is actually not the concept of love, it's a concept of capitalistic society. Because everything has a value in a sense, and you're looking for a fair trade itself. It is the essence of capitalistic society. You think about everything in terms of equality of the value. So whatever you do is about equal amount so that you are fair. But there is actually no fairness in love. It's a simple act.
When you say there's no fairness in love, do you think it could be something more on the line around too many variables, and a lot of the decision that you make is based on intuition? So for example, at some point, if your loved one doesn't treat you right, you're going to feel it.
Yeah.
And that's not something easily quantifiable. It's more through, I just have a bad gut feeling.
Yeah.
I feel awful. I feel terrible. I feel like being used or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to say, okay, he did X, Y, Z. And even if he or she did something that's terrible, how do you then quantify this into, because of this happened, I feel awful? You can't, but it's a sense of feeling, isn't it? It's quite vague and abstract. I guess it's difficult.